Hey everybody, it's Frankie again
And
here,
it's Chewy.
and Chewy, and we're here to bring you another episode of Talkin Football. This week is going to be week 2, and man, that was a pretty crazy week 1, huh?
Very, very awkward to know that there's so many safeties this year.
Oh yeah,
A lot of touchdowns this year. A lot of different outcomes that we thought weren't going to happen, and surprisingly, it was a very interesting week 1. Very good to start off the year, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
A lot of big surprises.
Yeah.
Just to kind of talk about those safeties. Did you see the Tennessee Titan one?
Step.
Darius Renard steps out of the line, goes back into the
Honestly,
end zone.
it didn't look like it to me. I mean, you really had
His
to.
toe pointed out.
Yeah.
So
I mean, just by that toe, I mean, the fastest scorer in NFL history, 3 seconds it took.
that is hilarious, man.
I mean,
that is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like I thought, as soon as I seen that come up on the like highlights of it, I was like, oh, Chewy, you fucked up. I was like, bro, like that's how you started off
Yep.
as a Titans pick. Come on.
Yep.
And then the rest of the game happened. And then I was like, well, I got that one wrong. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get into the mix of things here. Last week the 49ers were first, so this week we're talking Falcons, and they let me down.
Yep.
Man almighty, man. That was hey, credit to the Saints, man. I hate them. I hate them with all my heart. I really do. It seems like we're always in that position, like at the end there's a fucking final drive. I think that we were in the same position last year against the Saints, basically.
Yeah.
The same position against the Niners,
Yep.
of all teams.
Yeah.
And it happened again, and I was thinking to myself the whole time, why are we always in this position? Why can't we just win? Like, why can't we just beat the shit out of these guys?
Yep.
But you know what, man? The Saints, I told you last week they were going to come up with a bunch of energy. Their coach is back. So I knew that they were going to be excited. They were going to be energized, and they definitely look like a whole new team. Rob Ryan, I don't like you. I don't like you or your defense, but you know what? You motherfuckers had some crazy pressure packages. So,
They did.
that's just something I think that the rest of the NFL is going to have to deal with. They're going to have to figure out some way to stop them because you know what? They seriously lost 3 or 4 linemen, including Will Smith and Jonathan Vilma, who's not a linebacker. I'm not stupid. I know who he is. But they were injury-plagued, and they still fucking got pressure. That's just great schematics. So, Rob Ryan, my hat's off to you, even though I hate you and your defense and your entire team. But you know what, man? Like I said, I got to give credit where it's due. The Saints played a hell of a game. It's always the same thing with those two teams. An interesting note is we're 2-7 against Sean Payton, and that's got to change, Mike Smith. That's got to change, man. If there's any team I really want you to beat consistently, it's New Orleans. Honestly.
Yeah,
I hate them.
And they're in your division, so.
Yeah, that's why I hate them. Yeah. But a couple of things I took away, man. I loved our cornerback play. I thought that Robert Alford, Desmond Trufant, and Robert McClain all stepped up and did a great job defending the deep pass. I think their biggest plays really came on crossing patterns and underneath routes that kind of got us off guard. But I think that they did a great job. Congrats to Robert Alford for getting his first career pick, even though I know he said it's irrelevant because we lost. Hey, man, you still got your first pick against Drew Brees. That's something very good to fall back on. So, like I said, the cornerbacks did well. I thought that they were going to be able to go deep on us because Asante Samuel would be missing. But they did a good job, man. Those rookies sure are showing us that the offseason work paid off because they did a great job defending the passes. So our rookies did, I think, a great job. And, man, I got to tell you, linebackers looking like a weakness for our defense right now, to be honest. Like, I love the linebackers, man. D-Block, shout out to them. But, I mean, shit, man. Oh, my God. Half the time we were getting beat. I mean, God, they put Akeem Dent in against Marcus Colston on that one play where they scored a touchdown. I mean, Akeem Dent can't be. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was, maybe they were just cut out of position, or if schematically that's what they wanted, or if a change needed to be made that wasn't made. I don't know. But why would Akeem Dent ever be put in a position to cover Marcus Colston in the red zone. It's not sensible, man. You got to get a corner on him or something. Like, you cannot put Hakeem Dent on Marcus Colston. They're going to take that every single time. So, I mean, God, and I don't want to just make it seem like, oh, that one play is a reason they're a weakness. I mean, gosh, that just seems to be the position where we need to improve the most on our linebacker play. Like I said, I love our linebackers, man. D-block, they're cool, man, but they got to do better, man, honestly. They got to do better. They got to do better when it comes to covering, when it comes to, pressuring and things like that, which I think they did a good job of. Basically, what I saw was what I expected out of them. So, but they're getting burned too often, man, and
it needs to change, especially because with Payne, Breeze and the Saints, they're 11-2 facing the Falcons, and when they're together, now that they're back again, they got their hands full, and I know that they're gonna face them one more time this year, and it has to change. It really does. I mean, these Falcon teams are a great team, but for some reason, when they face the Saints, it's different. It really is.
Yeah, and it's because the divisional rival games, I get it. They're always closer. They're a lot tougher. And Carolina plays us tough. Tampa Bay plays us tough. It's because they just know us better. Like, they know our guys' tendencies and things like that. And they don't necessarily need to know our schemes or whatever, but they know what our players do and things like that, which makes, execution and things like that a lot more key than schematics. So I understand why these games are always tough. I'm not going to press the panic button on the team yet. Losing to New Orleans, to me, it's a tough loss, but I definitely think our team is better than what we played. Mm-hmm. I think that we were very sloppy on offense. We missed. I mean, God, when I look back on the game, little things really killed us. Missed sacks or just not getting enough pressure. Just kind of letting Breeze kind of pick and choose. I mean, to me, Jonathan Babineau is a defensive player of our game, man. He did a great job. He basically penetrated every single time. Babs, great job, man. Keep up the hard work, bro. You've always been one of my favorite defensive linemen. So, Babineau did a great job. But, man, we got to get better pass rush. I mean, there's really just no other way around it. Our pass rush needs to improve. It has to.
And only one sack.
No, we got two. I know OC got one. I think with Pryor Jerry and who was the other guy? Corey Peters got one. So, we got to do better, man.
Especially on offense. The Saints were on the field a lot more. You got 35 minutes to 24.
Yeah,
that does matter, especially towards the end to the fourth quarter.
Definitely. Yep. And our offense needs to have better protection, man. Lamar Holmes was getting his ass handed to him. He was getting punched and just pushed back, and he just got he got beat way too often, man. And it was just, I don't know. I'm not saying that he wasn't trying. It was just lack of execution. On what I took from it, I thought that they could have played better, obviously. But I mean, and I don't want to just say, oh, it was only Lamar Holmes, because that's not fair. That's not fair to say that. But I mean, one of the notes that they brought up during the game, which I found was interesting, was the fact that they said he had never played a full NFL game before, so maybe he was getting a little worn out. To me, that makes sense. There's some validity to that. It's true. It's much more exhausting to play a full game of starting NFL, like a starting NFL defense that's coming after you a lot because they know you're barely starting, as opposed to preseason when the most you're probably going to play is a half or maybe a bit into the third quarter. So it makes sense, but still, Lamar Holmes needs to improve. I think they're going to. And I think that... I think our offensive line collectively is going to get better and better as they progress through the season. Because given the fact that really a lot of them got beat, not just Lamar Holmes, like I said, but given the fact that they were getting beat, I think they're just going to learn from it. They're young players, so they'll get better as the season goes along. I'm not totally worried, but Man, there was just too much pressure in Matt Ryan's face. Way too much for my liking. I hated the fact that Matt Ryan was getting pressured way too often. Yeah. I am not used to seeing that. There's supposed to be a clean pocket for Matt Ryan. Yeah. That's what I expect to see as a fan. Yeah. And Steven Jackson did what he could, man. Like last week you said, when he said that he basically makes his own play sometimes. He ended up with 77 yards rushing. And 50 of them were because he had a cut back against the grain and busted that huge run. Yeah. So that's something that we were missing last year. We didn't have it with Michael Turner. So it was nice to see that, which is why I feel like they're going to get better. Yeah. You know, they showed flashes of brilliance. They showed flashes of improvement, big time play. I just feel like like I said, when the season progresses and this line gets better and better, we're going to be something else to deal with, man. And I think the next time we play New Orleans in Atlanta, it's going to be a different outcome. It is. Like I said, I think at that point of the season, we're going to be way better. So, Steven Jackson, he did a good job, 77 yards. I think he ended up with like 100+ all-purpose yards after receptions and things like that.
Overall, he did pretty good.
He did drop that third down ball towards the end of the game. Yeah, he dropped it, and he took responsibility for it. I saw the interview where he says, I dropped the ball, and I expect to make the play. To me, that's what I want to hear as a fan. I don't want to hear him say, I was being held, or something, because then I'm like, okay, man, come on, leave the excuses to me. I want to hear you say, hey, I should have made the play, because that to me shows the kind of determination and kind of character you have, and I appreciated that as a fan. So we'll see what happens as the season progresses. I definitely believe we're going to get better, and but hey, like I said, hats off to the Saints, man. I think that they did a good job. They played us very well. I just felt like, I don't know, for some reason the Saints just, they needed it more. Honestly, like they played like that. They needed the win way more. They played like that. Yeah. They seriously, like I saw a whole new Saints life into them. That is not a defense that I'm willing to make fun of anymore.
They really stepped it up this year, and at home game, with their coach back, it was emotional. They had so much pressure, and seeing how they were going to play off, and you know what, it paid off. It really did. They really stepped it up this week.
They sure did. So, like I said, typical Saints-Falcons game. We couldn't make the plays when we needed to. And I think our offensive line needs to improve, and I think our linebackers need to improve. But I think that's all stuff that's going to be fixed later on. Schematics and stuff. I think I saw one play where Corey Bierman was covering Jimmy Graham. Come on, you can't be putting our guys in positions like that. That's all I'm trying to say. Corey Bierman is not going to cover Jimmy Graham. Let's just face it. I know you had a safety on top and you passed him off, and you probably used Bierman as a decoy. So maybe it's like a robber scheme where Dakud comes down and picks him off or something. But come on, man, we can't be doing that. And like I said, it was just little things that killed us. Yeah. Julio Jones fumbling, William Moore who missed that interception that was in his hand, and let me just talk real quick about William Moore, man. I saw him hit. Who was it? I think it was Marcus Colston, and he laid on the floor real quick for a while, and it looked like he was injured, but like I seen him like pound the floor, and what I think happened is he snapped. He probably just said, "I am fucking fed up with these guys. I'm fucking furious," because on the very next play, Mark Ingram gets the ball, and he gets blown up. So I love seeing that out of William Moore. I thought that was the greatest thing that could have happened to William Moore, was him finally snapping and saying, I fucking had it, and he just went off. So William Moore, man, that's the kind of intensity I want to see all season long, buddy. War, man. War. So, but anyway, like I said, just little things killed us, man, honestly. Little things here and there. Drop passes, holds on Sam Baker. It would have put Harry Douglas over 100 yards on that third down conversion. I think it was like third. I don't know. It was third and pretty long, but Harry Douglas converted, and it was a hold, so they called it back, and we ended up punting that drive. So little things here and there, man. There are things we can correct. I still think we have a great team. I think that we're going to get way better as the season progresses, and we're just going to have to move on. So
now to the winner table. We have the San Francisco 49ers at home facing the Packers. Pretty interesting game, actually. It was actually a pretty high-scoring game, which I didn't like. I think our defense should have played a little bit more better. But overall, the score, 34-28, the 49ers. The one thing I have to say is welcome to San Francisco for Antoine Bolden for
Oh man, how huge was he, man?
coming in here. I think he had 206 yards, one touchdown, but 13 receptions. He breaks a record for the most receptions and yards for a wide receiver for week one, and for a debut as well.
He was huge for you guys, man. He did everything.
Yep.
He could have possibly done.
And he did. I'm impressed by him. Another person, Kaepernick actually did one of his best performances so far out of his 11 starts for the 49ers.
From the pocket, too.
Yep, from the pocket. A lot of it from the pocket. He only rushed for 22 yards. So passing.
I don't even think they ran I don't even think they ran those zone read. Like I don't even think they touched it. Honestly, I don't think they played it that much.
I think they had like maybe one or two plays, and it ended up being switched. He ended up calling an audible, ended up in a shotgun play straight to passing, and for that he had 412 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and if somebody had him on his fantasy team, I would be pretty happy. If I don't have Peyton, I would have this guy. He did a lot better than I thought he would. He really did. Rushing wise, we didn't do well. I mean, but you know it wasn't a total of 500 yards, but it got pretty close. Frank Gore, even though he did score a touchdown, I was kind of disappointed in Frank Gore. His longest attempt was only 8 yards. He touched the ball 21 times and only got 44 yards. I'm pretty disappointed in that, but the running scheme I think is still there. It's just I think they focus a lot more on their passing. They passed 39 times, and I think the one thing that killed the Green Bay Packers that made them more and more mad throughout the game is that the time of possession. The Niners had the ball 38 minutes throughout the game.
Yeah, and you know what? The Niner defense looking as strong as ever. I mean, that new safety of yours, Reed, man, he's a big package, man. He is a big guy, and he hits really hard. So I liked what I saw out of that guy. But I'll tell you what, I think that I saw a bit of a weakness in your Niner defense. I saw they were getting frustrated out there. I think I can't. It was Aaron Rodgers who ran like a like a zone read kind of thing, and he kept it and ran out of bounds. And the first thing I thought of was like, taste of your own medicine, you know, like. Why would you put Aaron Rodgers in that position? Come on, but hey, it worked. So they did, and Navarro Bowman chases him out of the sideline, and he gets flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct. Which to me, just like throughout that whole drive, it just seemed like the Niner defense was getting frustrated and a little bit upset with the fact that they probably weren't as successful as they wanted to be. I think that they're good against the run. Hey, by the way, I thought Eddie Lacy would be okay for them. And when I saw him fumble the first thing, I was like, okay, that's kind of what I figured. But then he played really good. Eddie Lacy picked it up after that. So I think it also shows traits of, you know, if you can just run against this 49er defense, which is a lot easier said than done, that's where you can hit them. You know, and if you can frustrate them, if you can get in their heads too, I think that's another weakness they have because they're used to being successful. And when another offense is just kind of, you know, working them and staying on the field and converting third downs, I think they get frustrated. So that to me, that was just a sign of it.
And a lot on the defensive side. I think the reason why I think the Niners were getting so frustrated is that the Green Bay found a way to go in the field, score, and the Niners took their time, you know, with the ball, and that's great. But it scared me because the Packers consistently, if they weren't getting the score right, they were still running it, passing it down our throat. They really were, and only one sack. I think actually 2. I remember Alden Smith was helping Ray McDonald, but only 2 sacks in total. The pressure wasn't really as much as I want to. I was disappointed because Justice Smith really, you know, it wasn't really his game. You know, it really wasn't in the Smith brothers. I know that their technique, people are starting to catch on to what they do. You know, they flip around, they switch, but I'm starting to notice that they're catching on to that scheme. Linebacker wise, Patrick Willis, you know, he did okay, but Bowman did. I think he did a lot more better job at looking around more. He looked like he visioned the field a lot better, in my opinion. I think Patrick Willis was just more stable in figuring out where the run was coming from, and you know, Bowman looked like he had the backfield a little bit more. His eyes were more open for the backfield, but still. Kudos for Aaron Rodgers for throwing that much.
Aaron Rodgers had a great day through the air against you guys. He had much more success than I thought he would have. To be totally honest, the receivers were getting open. They were finding the open spaces. So,
and I think both teams. I think on both sides. I think the Packers were mad. Obviously, we saw what happened with Matthews. Diving himself off the sideline.
By the way, that was come on, Matthews. Yeah. That was a dirty shot, man.
And especially how after the game is over, they see that he. I mean. Obviously, if you're gonna be Joe Staley and you're gonna go, obviously you're gonna defend your quarterback. Great, if you're gonna be all up in someone's face, hey, I love what he does. I love that. But the fact that you're getting penalized when before that Antoine Bolden comes in and he gets pushed, obviously you're gonna push back, and then there's a scheme there, and then the Niners get penalized for it when Matthews was the one who slapped Joe Staley in the face.
That's true.
So, I mean. Good thing that at the end...
And by the way, that wasn't supposed to be you. That touchdown that you guys scored wasn't supposed to happen.
Nope, it was not.
What is it with your team and you get extra stuff? Like last year you got that extra timeout against the Vikings. And you still lost the game, but... I mean, shit, you guys just luck out sometimes.
And then we just got a free play. It was basically like that play never happened. That push never happened. I think that's why most players are not really talking about it because it was just a redo. And obviously after that redo, it was a touchdown by Quan Bolden. But other than that, it was a well-played game. I liked what we did. I see that our weapons are being used more. Vernon Davis, 2 touchdowns. And I'm seeing that our weapons, Kaepernick, if he does this for the rest of the year. Now, in my opinion, yes, you may say Peyton Manning and Tom Brady at top. I think that he's somewhere along there. If he keeps doing what he does and actually has a full season, I mean, he's gonna be something in the 49ers franchise. He really is. He's something now. I'm very impressed, but I'm buying into this guy, and I'm not thinking that maybe it's just his legs. I think it's everything in general that's making him a dynamic player.
Are we talking MVP, Chewy?
You know what? I am. I really am.
That's a pretty bold pick.
He had no interceptions. He had 3 touchdowns. I mean, he had 412 yards, the most that I've never seen Alex Smith ever go for more than 300. I don't even think I think when he touches 300, he barely touches it. This team has never been a passing type of team. It's always been on the run. And with this quarterback, it kind of changed now that they say, okay, well, we have Davis. Well, now that we had Moss. Well, he's gone. Now what do? When we get him, I mean Antoine Bolden, we look like we can throw the ball and be a lot more comfortable. Throwing it 39 times is something that the San Francisco 49ers don't ever really do. They always give it to Gore. Great. He had 21 attempts. You can understand that they love handing him the ball, and whatever he can get means whatever he can get. But they're starting to see that they have so much more weapons that they can use. And what I like is that everybody is a team in the offense. Bolden was actually in the backfield, blocking for Frank Gore at one point, and everybody seems like they are using everybody in a good, positive way. And obviously, 412 yards is something to be very happy about.
Sometimes I start to wonder if the 49ers had so much success through the air just because I think they were tired of hearing the Green Bay Packers defense were tired of hearing about all the running and stuff. They were probably like, that's what we're going to stop because that's what we think is going to be their bread and butter. But the 49ers were so much more balanced this year. They were so much more balanced. Colin Kaepernick, like you said, had such a great day through the air. How much was 31 attempts?
39.
39 attempts, 21 rushing attempts from Gore. I mean, that's balance right there. It's a little more lopsided towards pass, but that is great balance that the 49ers wouldn't have struck otherwise. But like I said, I think for some reason I kind of want to point towards the Packers' defensive scheme as well. I think that they were more concerned with stopping the run. I just feel that way. And Clay Matthews, he blew you guys up in the backfield twice, I think.
Yeah.
I remember he handed it off to who was it, Kendall Hunter, or was it?
It was Frank Gore.
Frank Gore, somebody, I don't know. But Clay Matthews, comes off clean off the edge and just knocks him back, I think 7 yards. And then another play did the same thing to Colin. He sacked his ass. So, that's what I kind of feel like. Hey, maybe they were just kind of more obsessed with stopping the run more than anything.
Yeah. They really were. Yeah.
But like I said, I think the 49ers struck a great balance. Yep. I think that's going to be very key for them going on down the road. Anquan Bolden, like you say, it was such a huge target for them, and he's gonna be something special for you guys. And Vernon Davis as well, man. He had himself a pretty good game too. So they're gonna be great targets for Cap. I think that whole team is looking good. But like I said, I mean that I just feel like sometimes all that success translated because of their defensive scheme. And I think you're defensively, you guys are good.
It could be better, but
it could be better. But hey, you're not far off. You definitely have a great defense. I have a tremendous amount of respect for. So
overall, I mean, it was a good game.
It was a good game. I gotta say, the Packers hung in there a lot more than I thought they would.
Yeah,
I did not expect such a back and forth game. I really thought that the Green Bay Packers were just gonna get shellacked. I did not think that it was gonna be that close. And the Packers, man, you got to give it up to them, man. They played they showed up to play. Yeah. They weren't just gonna roll over. They played a tough game. Yep. So
kudos to them.
Great job. That was a great game. But I mean, hey, that's week 1. So moving on, Falcons. We got St. Louis this week. So St. Louis able to pull off a last second victory, I think. Last second field goal, game-winning field goal. Yep. And they take it over the Cardinals, who I think are both underrated teams. I think Arizona showed that they're looking better. Larry Fitzgerald caught 2 touchdown passes from Carson Palmer. So this NFC West division, man, don't they used to be the laughing stock, but now all 4 teams are looking pretty good. So St. Louis. Steven Jackson faces his old team in the Georgia Dome opener. Yep. Man, that's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, it is. It really
I'm anxious to see how Steven Jackson is gonna play against his old defense.
I think they're gonna give him the ball a lot more. I actually do. I think they're gonna tell him, you know what, just this turf, go for it. And I think he's gonna have more than I think he's gonna have more than 100 yards for sure. I really do.
I would love to see that, but to be totally honest with you, I think that defense is just very good. James Laurinaitis, that guy is one hell of a linebacker, man, and they're underrated, to be totally honest. I mean, I just don't see the St. Louis Rams. I'm like, okay, they're gonna roll over for us and we're gonna beat them. I think it's gonna be a tough game. I think that it's gonna take. Steven Jackson's gonna have to have a big game. He's gonna have to have a way better game than against the New Orleans Saints. Yeah. And like you said, they're gonna have to give him the ball, and he knows the defense, he knows their tendencies. Goes back to what I said earlier about kind of throwing schemes out the window when you know your opponent's tendencies and things like that. They know that he knows their on defense. He knows their tendencies, but they know his as well. The only thing I can kind of say is different is we have different offensive lines. So definitely, as far as like run designs go, they're going to be different. But I think Steven Jackson needs to have a huge game for us to win this game. Steven Jackson's going to have to perform better. Yeah. The offensive line's going to have to perform better. And, we won't have to lean on the pass so much if we can,
have the ball going.
Yeah, exactly. And Roddy White's talking about him not being himself for a couple more weeks. He's basically a decoy for now, which is not good news for me because Roddy White's one of my favorites. And to be a full, our offense to click on all cylinders, we need Roddy White in there at his best. So I don't know if this is going to be the case. Roddy may just have to sit out, in my opinion, because I don't want to see Roddy out there if he's not 100%, because A, he could probably be harming the team more than helping it, and B, it's just not. It's not worth it, right now in this early ass season to have Roddy White out there pushing himself. And what if he gets injured? And God forbid, that's the last thing I want, is Roddy White to get injured. So, if it were up to me, I might tell Roddy, you know what, just take this week off, bud, and you rest that ankle up because we're gonna need you for the long haul. So. I know there's probably Falcons fans telling me to shut my mouth right now, but I'm looking at it from the big picture, man. And hey, it's like I said, if Steven Jackson can get it going, and God, those corners on St. Louis, they're no joke either, man. Janoris Jenkins and Cortland Finnegan, who I'm not very particularly a huge fan of, but they're no joke. I get it. You want Roddy White in there, but Roddy White's already made it public that his ankle's not 100%, which is last time I checked, not something you admit. because now that the league knows, So, but anyway, so yeah, like I said, I think we're gonna need to lean on Steven Jackson. I think he's gonna welcome that. I think he's gonna love the opportunity to break for 100 against his old team and smash them and show out in front of the home fans. And it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a tough game, a hard fought game. Two tough teams going at it. But I think that in order to win this game, Steven Jackson needs to have a huge day. He needs to be able to run the ball consistently. And I think if we can do that, then everything else is going to set itself up afterwards, kind of like how we used to do with Michael Turner, where we would run him and run him and run him, and then we'd pass off of that. So, and I think on defense, they're young, they're fast on their offense. I'm talking about, by the way. They're young and they're fast. Tavon Austin, and I can't remember the running back's name, but I know he's really quick too. The guy with the dreadlocks, but they're good and they're quick on offense, man. And I think that if we can win the battle on the line, I think that if we can get in the backfield, cause penetration, move the line. If we can win the battle in the trench, then we can stop their offense. Like I said, I think Tavon Austin is just an explosive player. I'm not underrating him at all. But what I saw from our corners, I was really impressed. I honestly have full confidence in them that they're going to be able to do their job and run whatever Mike Nolan wants them to run. So I'm not all too worried about the receivers, although I know that they can be something that hurts us in the end. But like I said, Tavon Austin is really good, but I believe in our corners, man. What I saw out of week 1, and I know it's just week 1, but they played really good against a really stacked receiving corps. So I think that, like I said, if we can win the trench, battle in the trench, if Babs can create more penetration, if OC can continue to get in the backfield, and if we can just disrupt their whole play from the beginning, we're going to take this game. And we're going to go 1-1, unfortunately. But, yeah, so... it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be fun to watch. I know there are a lot of Rams fans out here. We'll see if I get to talk a little bit of trash after. But it's going to be a good game, man, and I'm looking forward to it. Atlanta takes this one.
And also in the NFC West, we also have Seattle coming and facing the 49ers.
You're actually going to Seattle.
Are we actually going to Seattle?
Yeah, you're going to Seattle. So
we're actually going to their turf.
It's going to be a good one, man.
I think even though the performance the Seattle Seahawks did, only scoring 12 and against the Panthers was kind of, I don't know. I mean, I expected it to be a lot high score game. Being as that said,
I agree.
Russell Wilson, I still don't think is somebody that people should underestimate. Even though he only had 1 touchdown, he did go for 320 yards. It was actually 25 of 33. 7 drop balls for 33 passes. Actually pretty good. I'm pretty impressed. The running game for Seattle, I don't think that they have it. Our defense has to really understand that passing game could really kill us, as Aaron Rodgers did as well. And for the passing game that Aaron Rodgers did, they actually ended up pretty close at the fourth quarter. They actually the score we were down, and at the end, yes, we made it through and we got the victory with the Packers. But still, Seahawks are still a team to me that I think that they still have a lot of weapons. And now that they're at home, I think it's going to be a pretty close game. I really do. I don't think we're going to underestimate them. I think we're going to go out there and we're going to go hard. And at the end, I think it does go to the quarterbacks. I think whichever quarterback has it at the end of the game will end up figuring out if they can take it home. And my opinion, but I still believe the Niners will win. I have a full faith in them. I think that they have enough weapons. I think they should have enough confidence to realize that Seahawks isn't a team to mess with. But yes, it could be an easy win. It could be a victory. But nevertheless, I still go with Seattle.
I don't think it's going to be easy at all. I think this is going to be another really tough game. A couple of things I look at with Seattle and their terrible performance. Well, I mean, they were okay, but they weren't awful. But, a couple of things I look at is the fact that Seattle's never been that great on the road since Russell Wilson's come in. They've just never been able to travel well. They just don't seem to travel well, and they really don't do well in the Eastern time zone, especially. So that's one thing I look at. Another thing is I mentioned it last week that the Carolina front seven is looking way better, and I think that affected their running game a lot. I think that the front seven was doing a good job against Seattle. So I'm not just going to sit here and say, well, this is Seattle's new offense and they're going to suck. I think that it was a combination of Seattle not being a team that travels very well and the Carolina front seven doing a great job against them. But which is why I think it's going to be a different game when you guys play them because Seattle is at home. And I don't need to remind you what happened to you guys last time you traveled there. Everything went wrong for San Francisco.
Literally everything went wrong.
Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Yep.
So,
it's safe to say yes, that did happen.
And hey, one thing that kind of sticks out in my mind is that hit from Cam Chancellor to Vernon Davis down the sideline when he got smacked.
Yep.
He got popped so hard. Vernon Davis couldn't open his eyes.
Yep.
He was hit so hard, and that's just like a taste of the kind of hatred these two teams have for each other, much like Atlanta and New Orleans. So.
And I think this is the reason why it's going to be a big game because these two are the players that we expect to be at the top of the NFC West, and we both have one win, but this would really be a great start if we end up being on top, especially because the Seahawks are a team that we are really looking at and that we underestimated last year, and we got our asses kicked. We really did, and Russell Wilson did his thing. He really, even throughout the playoffs, Russell Wilson still managed to carry on this team. And I say that because he's such a young guy, just like Kaepernick, and he does a very good job in the Seattle offense. It really does.
Yeah, so it kind of goes back to the whole division rivals. Game gets amped up. Players know each other way better. I just can't see that. I can't say in my heart of hearts knowing what Seattle's capable of. Not necessarily what they've done, but what they're capable of. And man, I just this is gonna be a dogfight. It seriously is. It's gonna be a dogfight. It's gonna be down. It's gonna be dirty. It's gonna be nasty. It's gonna be a real good game. I for one am looking forward to seeing that game. But you know what, man? I gotta tell you, I think I'm gonna go with Seattle on this one. Seattle went undefeated at home. Last year they just looked better at home. I know you got the Fail Mary, which they shouldn't have gotten.
The refs.
Yeah, it was stupid refs. But I just think Seattle's such a better team at home. Yeah. Man, I think they take it, but just barely. I think it's gonna come down to the little thing. I think it's gonna be something tiny, as maybe like a drop pass that's gonna dictate this game or something, because these are two heavyweights going at it. But hey, I mean, if San Francisco could beat Seattle in their house and be the first team to do it since Russell Wilson's came in, which I know isn't saying much, 8 games, 7 with an asterisk, or 8 with an asterisk rather. But I think that this is gonna be, like I said, a real good game. It's gonna come down to one thing here or there, like something that's gonna go wrong for one team. But I'm leaning towards Seattle. But like I said, I'm definitely not discounting San Francisco. I think they definitely have a real opportunity to win, especially if they can strike that balance again that they had against Green Bay. But I don't think Seattle's going to be susceptible to believing that the run is going to kill them. I think they know this team better. I think that they know better than to just believe the run's going to be the thing that's going to kill them. And it's just two NFC heavyweights, man, going at it,
It'll be a great game. Really is.
But I'm picking Seattle on a close one. So,
moving on from that, we have our
weekly request, which is Philadelphia, and man, they were fast. Yep. They were fast against the Redskins, man.
They came out the first quarter. They had the ball first, and every single play was a no huddle. I mean, the Redskins, they looked so lost, and when they knew that they were okay, let's do this. The play was already going, and the ball was just moving, and so was the team, and it was just. This is what just Kelly wanted. He wanted to have this offense brand new, and with Michael Vick running the offense, they ended up scoring tremendously fast, and they got a good offense.
Oh my God!
If they have that strategy every week, I mean this offense, you can't mess with. I mean, Michael Vick did his thing. He really did.
53 total plays in one half. 53.
A record, by the way.
It hasn't been done since I think 2005 or something like that. I think it was done by the Vikings, or maybe I'm mixing up that stat with another one. But,
was the Vikings.
I don't know.
But yes.
But man, that was such wow. It was so crazy to see Philadelphia run that offense. But here's the thing. Yeah, they were successful in the second half. They kind of eased off on the pedal. I don't think that in the second half. I think in the second half they were just trying to be kind of conservative with the clock. But Philadelphia was just rolling in the first half. And you know what really surprised me was their defense. Their defense was a lot more energetic than I thought. I thought their defense was shit. Yeah. But they looked way more energetic and way more aggressive than I thought they were going to be. So Philadelphia, they're looking like a good team. I just don't. I'm not ready to be sold on Philadelphia yet, given the fact that Michael Vick was already limping off the field, and God, that's. I mean, as much as it gasses out the opposing defense, I mean, I just gotta think it's wearing down the offense as well, you know. And I think that I just don't know if they can keep up that kind of pace throughout the whole season. I just don't. I'm not convinced.
Obviously,
and they definitely. I mean, the Redskins were coming back into this game, and I mean, who knows? You know, like.
That adrenaline was just kicking in for the Eagles at first. And
basically, it started with that fumble from Avant. But, I mean, Philadelphia looked real good. They were run heavy, a lot more running than I've ever seen them do. LaShawn McCoy had a great game.
184 yards with 31 carries. Pretty good.
Yep. So they definitely struck a good balance. But like I said, I just don't know if they can keep up this kind of pace throughout the whole year because, like I said, especially with Michael Vick, because he was already limping off the field here and there. So,
I mean, even though kudos to him, he got 203 with 2 touchdowns. Yeah, great. The issue I have with the Eagles is, yes, they did have a good start. But I mean, obviously, the kickoff of their season has started, and I mean, obviously, your adrenaline is kicking. Everything is going for their first drive, and ended up being successful with 7 points. But everybody's gonna say the same thing. RG3 was a little rusty. I know this defense picked it up. I honestly think that this defense picked it up. Now, being as that said, they picked it up for the first half, and that's my issue. I'm scared to see if the Eagles are just that first half team. And at the end of the day, you saw that RG3 was coming back. And actually, it was pretty scary to see that he was actually making them touchdowns. And, it was RG3 that we know. But then again, it was the Eagles' fault for falling apart. Now, as that said, that was all in the second half, which, fears me when it comes to the Eagles. Because, like Frankie said, you can't have that for the whole season. You can't. And, if they're giving up already in the second half and they have so many errors, we have to see throughout the week if they can keep that momentum high.
And you know what? I like I said, I love the defense. What they were doing, they were plowing RG3 in the backfield, and they were just getting after the ball. They were aggressive. They were fast. But how much of it was like mental errors too? Like Alfred Morris fumbling twice, one time in the end zone. RG3 throwing picks, and you know what? Yeah, it was a mental error because he threw it into coverage, that first interception. But you know what, man? Another thing I noticed about RG3, he lost some zip on his ball. He definitely lost zip on his ball. And I don't know if it's rust. I don't know if it's the knee. But those passes were just slow. They looked like they were... And maybe it's because Michael Vick was just throwing lasers like he always does. And I was thinking, well, Michael Vick is... firing a cannon, so maybe RG3 should have a little bit faster, but his passes looked a little bit slow. They didn't seem to have that. I don't think he was throwing it with conviction. I just felt like they just seemed like passes that were just kind of flying away from his hands. So, that's another thing I look at. How much of it is really the Eagles' defense doing a great job? I mean, shit, you got to give it to Kerry Williams on that second pick. Yeah. That was a great play on the ball. But I mean, what if it was RG3 who's just throwing at his his best, but maybe his knee is still in pain? Like, what's really going on with Robert Griffin III? And was it how much did RG3 plague his offense? Did he do more than to hurt his team than we realize and that we're failing to see because we're excited about the Eagles and their great game? I don't know. But that's the beauty of the NFL season. We have 17 games or 17 weeks, 16 games to determine how good a team is or how good a season a team is having. So,
but overall, if they have that,
but they look good, man.
If they have the same start they did in the first half, I mean, that's a lot of plays for one. That is a lot of plays.
It's gonna be tough.
You kept that defense with Gatorade and some Hawaiian Punch or whatever it was. They were kicking back and just watching this offense just run it down their throats, and that's great. And if they keep that up the whole year, I'm gonna have to change my thoughts about the Eagles. But we're gonna have to see about that.
Yeah, and they got San Diego next week. Going to Philly. So San Diego, man, they surprised the shit out of me in the first half. Second half, fell flat on their face, which is what they did against Denver the last time, So I mean, I don't know, San Diego, you're a big disappointment, to be honest. I thought, hey, shit, here come the Chargers. Look out, they're looking good, and then they just shut it down. So Philadelphia takes that win at home. I think that they continue to improve off of their win. I think that Michael Vick's gonna have a good day against that defense. Although they did look better, San Diego's defense did look better. I'm not gonna discredit them, but Philadelphia at home. I think they take this one. So Philly gets this win against the Chargers, I say.
I think I'm gonna go with Philly as well. I like Michael Vick's scheme. I like the running game. I do enjoy it, and I think that they're gonna really run it down. I really do. So Philly all the way.
Yeah, so this week, that'll do it for this week's weekly request. Now let's get into this week's random shit, which is Peyton Manning's 7 touchdowns.
Wow,
what a game!
That is like something you play on Madden. Now, 7 touchdowns
on rookie.
It got to a point where there was I believe he was on a 6th touchdown run. I think it was. I'm not sure, but I think he threw the ball, and I think it was a 1-yard pass. It ended up being a random screen play.
Oh, the Demaryius Thomas one.
And it ended up running it all the way for a touchdown.
Man,
that's how much the Ravens defense could not pick it up. It got to the point where even small passes were big gains. Peyton Manning, all he had to do was just pass it, and everybody else did the job for him. 7 touchdowns in the first week of the season. If you have Peyton Manning in your fantasy league, you can have everybody else in your team suck, but as long as you have them making 7 touchdowns, you should be the happiest clown in the world right now.
I was happy that, I didn't really care because I didn't play him this week, but the guy who has him on my fantasy league benched him. He benched him. Well, he benched him for Kaepernick, but still, I mean, shit, Peyton Manning had an unforgettable week, so, man, that was such, I did not see that coming. I knew the Baltimore defense wasn't going to be that good. I knew that, but damn, to give up 7 touchdown passes, shit. That was something else. Peyton Manning had one hell of a game, and I mean, God, I get it. The defense, Baltimore defense isn't what it used to be. Great, but I mean, you don't just throw 7 touchdowns on an NFL defense. Let me tell you, and especially not a Harbaugh defense.
Seeing that, like you said, seeing that from a Harbaugh defense, 462 yards that the defense allowed in total. I think it was around 500 and somewhat yards allowed. Being as I said, offense-wise, as the Ravens, is a whole different story. They also did poorly as well, as we expected. Seeing that,
they couldn't run the ball.
Couldn't run the ball at all. But they did have the ball the longest, but they did allow the most yards. In total, Broncos did have 510 yards, but 462 yards by Peyton Manning with 7 touchdowns and 0 interceptions.
That'll get you a win.
That is going to get you more than a win. And yeah, Peyton Manning, he's still number 1. He's gonna keep being there if he does what he does, and if he does this every week. I mean, kudos to Baltimore. Yes, they have a lot of things they need to work on, and yes, they took advantage of it and they ran it down their throats. And Peyton Manning's still in the top quarterback of the league. He really is.
Peyton Manning I think he's just making everyone around him better. Demaryius Thomas 2 touchdowns. Wes Welker 2 touchdowns. Julius Thomas 2 touchdowns. He's just making everyone around him better, and I knew they were going to be better. But to start out with 7 touchdowns, it has something that hasn't been done in years. I mean, that's pretty special. So
on week 1,
hats off to you, Mr. Manning. You certainly had a great game. So anyway, that was this week's random shit. Dang. Well, anyway, That's kind of what. Hold on. Random shit. There we go.
Better.
Okay, so anyway.
We're going to go on to our picks this week.
Oh, yeah, and freaking Chewy has a game on me.
Yep. So I got one game.
All because of Pittsburgh.
Yep.
The fuck was that, man?
Yep. Now for last week's, for week 1, I currently hold a record of 10-6, while Frankie is 9-7. Hopefully this week I get a lot more wins, and we're going to let everybody else decide if anybody has any ideas of what's going to happen to the loser at the end of the season.
Oh, shut up. Really?
And
fine, bring it on.
allowing anybody to say anything they want of what, and we'll agree on what we can do to see who will lose. So far, Frankie is on the run of losing, but
I'm down by 1.
And 1 is all I need to win.
Whatever.
So coming on this week, we're gonna have the Thursday night football game, New York Giants
at the Patriots.
Now, seeing that, where do we go from here?
Let me tell you one thing. The Jets got that win against the Buccaneers. It was total luck. It was bullshizzle.
You know what?
David, hey, it's a rule. It is a stupid rule, though. Because, come on. Okay, he was going out of bounds. You give him a little shove. Fine, whatever. Flag him. But, it wasn't like he really did anything that bad. So.
Yes.
But,
the rules are rules.
As the rule constitutes, the rule constituted a flag. So
like they say, there's always going to be a game where, one player's going to be like, hey, you know what, it's not your fault. No, it was your fault for allowing the Jets to win.
And then did you see Geno Smith after the game standing there with open arms like he's... Oh, my God. Relax, bro. Smith, you barely got that win,
Geno
bro.
Smith, I'm not going to tell you anything bad. I'm not. But I have to tell you. You're playing with the Jets. And as you're playing with the Jets, you're
going to realize
it's not a pretty game for Geno Smith. I think he did pretty good. I was impressed because he didn't really have this team fall on its ass. He did have 256 yards. Completion-wise, wasn't the best, 24 out of 38, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, so on and so forth. But he did pretty decent. The Tampa Bay Bucks, they could have done a lot better. I really think that Tampa Bay should have had
Josh Freeman had a shitty game, too.
Yep, I think Tampa Bay should have had that. Obviously, one play can change the whole game around, and obviously we saw that.
Especially when it's that close.
Being as I said, Patriots are no better. They
had a sloppy game, too.
They had a sloppy game. Buffalo Bills, you made them a lot better team. They looked really good. They really did.
I told you.
At one point, the Buffalo Bills were actually climbing on top. I believe it was the third quarter. Buffalo were leading 21-17. Buffalo was leading the New England Patriots.
I told you the Bills give the Pats fits in the opening week. Historically, they do.
Now, obviously, they lost 5 seconds last kick of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Sad to see that. Being as I said, both teams are not at the level that they should be, but they are rivals. They love to go head to head. In my opinion, I want the Patriots to win. I don't like what New York Giants are doing. I don't. Geno Smith, I give him kudos. He did do his thing somewhat, but I don't think that package that the Jets are looking for are there. It's just to me, it's just not there.
I'm going Patriots. I think that they're going to improve on last week. I think Tom Brady has figured out Rex Ryan and his defense.
And Rex Ryan should not be happy. He looked like the happiest person in the world.
Oh, man. He was ecstatic. He's like, oh, shit, we got to win. We're undefeated, technically.
Yeah, technically we're undefeated. And I think that they're going to really...
I think Tom Brady's going to bring them back down to earth, man.
Yep.
Patriots get this one.
Yep.
All right, so next game, it's going to be Minnesota at Chicago. Well, Chicago showed flashes of brilliance. I think they did okay. Their defense looked pretty good. I think last week, Andy Dalton tried to pick on Tillman a little bit too much. He ended up getting, I think it was 1 pick, but I think he should have had 2 or something like that. I don't know, but something along those lines. But anyway, Adrian Peterson looked real good. He had that one really big run, but then that was it. But still, Adrian Peterson is not anyone you ever count out. So this is gonna be a close game. It's gonna be hard to pick.
I'm gonna go with Chicago.
Chicago.
I like what Cutler did last week, and I'm impressed with the Bears defense. I'm gonna go with Chicago on this one.
I think that for the Chicago Bears to win this game. I think if they can neutralize Adrian Peterson, they're going to win this game. I go with the Bears too. So we're both on the Bears. Carolina at Buffalo.
Ooh.
That's going to be a good game. I'm going to go...
No.
I'm going to go Buffalo. I don't trust Cam Newton.
He only had 100...
He has a cannon arm, man, but he's just not...
He passed for 125 yards. As a quarterback, the Panthers...
I mean, shit, he did it against a pretty good defense, but, I mean, come on, man. Like, for me to have faith in Cam Newton, which I never am going to because I'm a Falcons fan, but looking from afar, you got to have a better game than that guy. And you know what? The Bills, they handled their business against Tom Brady. They gave him everything they can handle. Yeah. And they're at home. I'm going to go Bills on this one. You're going Bills too?
Yep.
Okay. Dallas at Kansas City. Another pretty good game. The Dallas Cowboys, they look better. I don't think they were great as the Dallas Cowboys fans are making them out to be, typical Cowboy fans. But
we'll go with that when the Giants come up. But with the Dallas Cowboys, I like how Alex Smith played. I mean, he actually played.
You mean Chiefs?
Oh, I'm sorry, with the Chiefs. I like how Alex Smith played. Typically, he always has around 250 yards a game. I mean, an average most likely around there. He's not much of a deep passer, but I like how they played. Now, not giving him as much credit because I mean, you are facing the Jaguars. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you're bound to score. I mean, the Jaguars aren't a type of team that's going to stop you from scoring. So, being as that said, I mean, I don't want anybody to give the Kansas City Chiefs too much credit, but they did win. They did win pretty big, and so
they have to go out and play.
Mm-hmm. But then again, the Giants didn't do as well either, and they lost against Dallas. So I think both teams, they just didn't face a good team.
Dallas got the win because the Giants played like shit. Let's be honest. The Giants were sloppy as shit.
Now we're gonna go to the Giants game when we get to the Giants game.
Fine, whatever.
But Dallas, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I like the Chiefs.
I'm gonna go with the Chiefs too. I think that going into Arrowhead, their home opener. I don't trust Dallas just yet. Like I said, I think they got that win because of how badly the Giants played, not so much as how great they played. So I'm going to go Chiefs on that one. Dolphins at Colts. You know what? The Dolphins really surprised me. They were a lot better than I thought they were going to be. I thought that Brian Hartline's continued right where he left off. He kind of reminded me that he still existed because I totally forgot about him. But I'm going to go ahead and take the Colts anyway. Yeah. They're at home. Andrew Luck. He didn't look too. He looked good. He didn't look great against the Raider defense, which I thought he should have done better against.
A lot better. But he did get the victory.
Yeah,
he did do a little Michael Vick run at the end. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Colts.
Yeah, I think that intangible of having that desire to score and win, I think is gonna be great for Andrew Luck and the Colts. So I'm going with Colts on this one. I think Colts take this one in a close game.
Washington and visiting the Green Bay Packers.
You know what? If what I saw from the RG3 offense in the beginning of the first half is a sign of things to come, I'm gonna go Green Bay all day on this one because I'm
gonna go with Washington. I think RG3 has had his game already. That talk is over. They're not gonna. I don't think his expectations of coming back, and he had no more preseason games, and he was rusty. I think that's all done. I think that the Green Bay Packers, I honestly don't think they can manage to see how they can stop RG3. I think if now that week 2's coming, he's going to open up a little bit more. Hopefully he scrambles more. I think he was just too much in the pocket, too much to force the pass to go. So I'm going to go with the Washington to upset the Green Bay Packers at home.
I think the Redskins showed us that they're susceptible to being beat by the pass, and nobody in this league throws it better than Aaron Rodgers. So I'm gonna trust the Packers on this one. They're at home. You bring up a good point about the Packers defense. I'm kind of having a tough time against quarterbacks who are dual threats. But like I said, I just don't see the conviction in RG3's throws like I would want to see if I was a Redskins fan. So I don't think that. I think if the Packers are going to be able to. I think if Clay Matthews can have a great game. I think that'll pretty much take care of the offense. And that's easier said than done. But I'm going to go with the Packers. I think that I trust their offense way more than I do the Redskins' offense. And I think that's going to be the difference.
Well, here's our first upset of the day. Finally, we have our differences. I'm going to Washington. He's going to Green Bay.
Cleveland, Baltimore.
Well, I think whatever team Baltimore faces is going to win. I mean, I honestly think that Baltimore, yes, they have a bunch of issues they need to work on. Oh man, they realize Ray Lewis isn't there no more.
That certainly woke them up. All that talk about, yeah, we're gonna roll with who we got. Yeah. Don't be so sure of yourself, buddy.
Yeah. Their secondary, they obviously didn't do good. 7 touchdowns allowed by Peyton Manning. I mean,
they didn't do good.
Their defense overall, if they don't work on something, they will end up falling on their ass, and they hold the title. But
and to think that the Broncos started out slow that game, I mean, oh my gosh, man, it could have been a lot worse.
I mean, yes, you did score 27 points. Kudos to you, but they need to really figure. I mean, yeah, Joe Flacco is the only person that I think in that team that still does what he does, and Ray Rice as well.
Even though he did crappy against them,
but the defense is what's really worrying me. I mean, the Browns they're no highlight reel, but I mean, that's gonna be a weird game. We're gonna see who really wants it more. I mean, both teams did lose, but
are you going Cleveland?
Yeah, I'll go Cleveland. I'll go Cleveland.
I'm going Baltimore. I think they bounce back. I think that I just can't see John Harbaugh, having 2 bad games in a row. Yeah. Especially at their true home opener, which is an injustice, by the way. The Ravens should have never started this season on the road. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that definitely what happened to them spoke dividends about it. But I go with the Ravens. I think they bounce back. So. Tennessee, Houston. I'm going to go Houston. Yeah, I still don't trust Tennessee. I know they got the win, but I think that was more because the Pittsburgh Steelers' offensive line can't block shit.
Yeah. I honestly think that the Steelers were the one team that everybody, I think it's safe to say, everybody's disappointed at.
Yep. I was disappointed. I couldn't believe that happened.
And I knew it was going to come because I don't think that Roethlisberger is that but we'll go with that when we get there.
New Orleans at Tampa Bay. I'm going the Saints, man. Saints. You know what? They look way better. Tampa Bay look real shitty. So, I mean, this one's pretty easy for me. Yeah. I know Tampa Bay is at home, but and New Orleans traditionally doesn't travel all that well. But when it comes to NFC South divisional games, you throw all that shit out the window. Yep. And you know what? The Saints just look better than the Bucks. So I'm going Saints. Yep. Detroit at Arizona.
That's gonna be, I think, a very, very good game.
I'm going Detroit on that one.
You know what? I'm gonna go with Detroit. I love how they're handling Reggie Bush. I really do. He's very much of a threat. Running the ball and catching it, and I like this offense. I really do.
Yeah, I think Detroit's gonna do a good job against this Cardinal defense. Like I said, I think they're getting better and better. But Detroit right now to me is more talented, more in sync. Detroit takes this one. Denver at New York, the Manning Bowl.
There you go.
Finally.
There's going to be a game that everybody's going to look at. First of all, the Giants need to really get their heads out of their asses. For one, yes, I understand that your starting running back is no longer a starter through the fans. I get it. I mean, but you can't just kick somebody off like that. I mean, I understand this week 1.
David Wilson fumbled 2 times.
But I think the biggest issue they have is not even David Wilson. I mean, no, I think it's the whole offense in general. I mean, 6 turnovers in one game against the Dallas Cowboys.
And you know what? Let's credit the Cowboys. They got a new defensive scheme. They did a good. They did a good job executing, but it was really more than anything the Giants just being sloppy.
Now I think when I
and by the way, this is the game of the week. We forgot to mention that.
Yes,
so
the Manning brothers are the games of the week.
Yeah,
but I think when it comes to going back to that game, I don't think that the Cowboys should get much credit. You still allowed them to score 31 points after having 6 turnovers. That's horrible. That is so.
That's true. They still had the opportunity to win.
They still had the opportunity to win with 6 turnovers. Now, Eli Manning really needs to figure out how to be smarter with the ball. I mean, that screen play where he just flicked. Where the hell is he throwing that ball to?
I don't even think that you're talking about the one where the guy picks it off and takes it back to the house. Mm-hmm. That guy didn't look like he was looking for it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It was just bad decisions left and right. It looked like
a nice screen to the. He was right in front of him and still ended up picking it off. I mean, if you guys.
But think about the way that ball bounced right into the Cowboys, Brandon Carr's hands. I mean, that truly illustrated the way the game went for them. Like that's just the ball bounced the Cowboys' way. That's
now,
the way.
Now with picks,
that tells you everything.
now with picks and so on and so forth, I don't think that the Giants have anything positive where I can be like, well, if they keep doing this, they'll win it. They
need to improve everything.
If Manning goes 14 touchdowns in two games, I would not be like, oh well, no one saw this coming. I honestly think that he is going to run it in their asses. I really do.
I think. I mean, how many interceptions did the Giants have? I think they had 1 or 2. I don't know. I know they got the one. I think they ended up with 2, but I don't know. But the Giants defense, they're okay. I think at the end of the season they're probably going to be like a 9-win team, if that, if not 8-8. Yep. I don't see anything that truly impresses me about the Giants. But I mean, shit. If you're seriously asking me this, based on these past 2 games, you know, I'm talking about the one the Giants had and the one the Broncos had. I'm gonna go Broncos because Peyton Manning looked beast-like, and Eli Manning looked puppy-like.
I mean, well, actually, Eli Manning still had 450 yards.
Yeah, but I mean, his decision making was ultimately what killed him.
And he was 27 of 42. But 3 interceptions really brings those 4 touchdowns down to the ground. I mean, yeah, they do matter, but at the end of the day...
I think it was 4 picks, wasn't it?
It was 3.
Oh,
yeah, Romo had 1.
Oh, Romo had 1. I know that they had that 1 pick. But
I mean, 450 yards still great, but that offense is still looking... They need a secure...
Very suspect.
They need Broncos.
Okay. Jaguars at Oakland? Oh, man, the battle of the horrible teams.
Yeah.
Oakland! Hey, Oakland. You got to win, man.
Hey.
I'm picking you.
I love what the Oakland Raiders are doing. Yes, they are our rivals. I understand United fans are going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? Give credit to Oakland going across the country on their first game and with 30 seconds left, still having an opportunity to win the Colts. Rather, the Colts are a playoff team.
That's true.
Now, you guys have to understand that Perry had the opportunity of winning it. Yes, they didn't win it, and it was the worst decision making prior. But still, they have a quarterback that's mobile.
And then, I mean, look how shitty the Jaguars are.
I mean,
I'm sorry, I don't want to say it like that, but, I mean, it's true.
Yeah, but Pryor is the face of that team, and we can see that he is the face of the team, and you know, I think that there's no more shitty Raider team no more. I think that throughout the year they're gonna go up a little bit by little. I think this year, I think it's a pretty nice leap. I like what they did. I was very impressed with what they did. Pryor is gonna run it down their damn asses.
The Raiders are at the foundation stages of their rebuilding phase. They're not great, but I like where they're headed. They're heading in the right direction. Terrell Pryor needs to have his line solidified. And I said it once, I'll say it again. Terrell Pryor is the future of Oakland.
Yes. So
I like what I see from him. He's making mistakes here and there, but they're mistakes that you would expect a young quarterback to make. And like you said, that was a very good point. They hung in there against a playoff team, from a year ago. So I like where they're headed. Do I think that they're a good team yet? No, I don't. I think that they're still okay at best. But I think Oakland's going to take this one mainly because it's Jacksonville, to be totally honest with you. Yeah. And also because I like where the Oakland Raiders are headed. So I take Oakland in this one. And Monday Night Football, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. I fucking am mad. I am very mad at Pittsburgh. So I'm going Cincinnati just because of that.
Yep, I'm going Cincinnati as well.
Cincinnati takes this one in a huge blowout. Yep. I'm just kidding. But anyway, yeah, Cincinnati takes this one. So sure. That's going to do it for this week, guys. Get ready for some great NFL action. We hope you enjoyed. As always, if you'd like for a team to be requested, let us know and we will... talk about your team. So
make sure you guys comment, like, view,
share.
Let us know, share anything you guys want us to talk about. We'll focus more on whatever you guys like. Remember, we like your guys' feedback. If we think we spend way too long talking about something, let us know and we can focus on other things. In general, it was a good week 1. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of passing. Yep. I cannot believe how many quarterbacks they were passing the. Rushing wise, I don't think any team had a really like. Oh, you know what? I think we're gonna keep running. I think every team is safe to say that
it's a passing league.
It's a passing league. Everybody's looking for those young quarterbacks and mobile quarterbacks.
I think they broke a record for most touchdown passes in a week. So I mean, it's just week 1. So buckle up, everybody. It's going to be a great year. But yeah, so like I said, thanks again for listening. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Thank you guys.
Later.